Football fans, the weekend you've waited for is finally here. Put your game face on to make sure your game day picks are perfect with the best wings, ears, and tails in South Jersey. All from the Piccalilli Inn on Route 206 in Chemung. For generations, the Piccalilli has been #1 for the big game. Try any of their homestyle favorites and find out why. Visit them on Facebook or at Piccalilli.com for their Pick Picks Big Game Specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup.
The Piccalilli Inn.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
Touchdown!
Sixers,
It's good!
and Flyers.
Oh, big save by Carter Hart.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
One of the craziest, busiest weekends of the calendar year is this weekend. We're going to try to get you as much detail on the weekend right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Super Bowl 56 this Sunday. Sixers back-to-back games tonight and tomorrow. You can hear both Sixer games right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. You can hear Super Bowl 56 coverage begins at 5 p.m. this Sunday on 97.3 ESPN. Plus, the Flyers play tomorrow at 12, although I think most of us kind of don't care about the Flyers at this point. But we got UFC 271 tomorrow night. So I got tons of picks. I got tons of recommendations for you guys for the weekend. Plus, we will announce later this evening the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week. NFL draft prospect Nick Cross from Maryland joins the show coming up at 6:15. He'll be calling in. Dave Weinberg moved from Wednesday to Friday. We'll get his thoughts on the football weekend and more right here on 97.3 ESPN. You can join the conversation as well. Text in 609-403-0973. Priority DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank and CLC. You have a ton of ways to get a hold of the show. We're listening on your radio, 97.3 ESPN FM, or online with the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Sixers play tonight. Now, there's no James Harden tonight or tomorrow night. He's expected to debut on Tuesday. So, but the bigger takeaway from the last week leading into the Super Bowl is in the aftermath of what we're seeing in Philadelphia with the Sixers going all in and trading for James Harden. And in the aftermath of you're seeing two Super Bowl teams that got there completely different building situations. I love the fact that in sports, there's more than one road to getting that championship. There's more than one way for a team to build your way to success. And I think it's very, very interesting how, sometimes people love to tell that this is the wrong way, this is the way it shouldn't be done, and all these different things. And I'm telling you, there's something to be said for the fact that you have a situation in sports where there's not always a right way to do it. Listen, it's important to have chemistry. It's important to have intangibles. It's important to have talent. But there's not one pure way to get there. Look at the Rams right now. The Rams have traded away all their first-round picks, and they have none until, 2024. Well, what did the Sixers just do? The Sixers traded away next year's first-round pick, as well as a conditional pick that's top 8 protected in 2027. The Rams in football, the Miami Heat in the early 2010s, you have teams like the Warriors in the late 2000s. All these teams have been built differently. And I just want to remind people that there's no way that's the right way to build a championship. Now, look, I'll tell you who I got for the Super Bowl in just a minute. But before I give you my pick for the Super Bowl, and I'll give you my full slate of prop picks a little bit later in the show. I got props, I got bets for UFC 271, and I got picks for the Super Bowl. But before I get there, I just want to remind you again, all these teams were built differently. And one of the most fascinating things about this Super Bowl game, just like with the Sixers, that there's no cookie cutter way that's the right way to win a championship. And it's always fascinating to me how people get so bent out of shape over things like the Sixers traded these draft picks. Well, sometimes you got to give up something to get something. Would you rather trade away a draft pick or trade away Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle? You had to pick one or the other. Look at the Rams. The Rams said, a few years ago, we got to the Super Bowl and we lost with Jared Goff. If we want to get back there, we need to get a better quarterback. And then midseason, they said, you know what? Our defense needs more firepower. Let's go get Von Miller. Hey, Odell Beckham Jr. is available. Let's go get him. This is a team of superstars in a city full of stars, right? In Los Angeles. And then on the other side, you got the Bengals. Built this team through the draft. Built this team through, I don't want to say, low price clearance rack free agents, but, there's a lot of guys on this roster who were signed in free agency who were not big time free agents. So you have two teams that built this completely different. It was almost like opposites going on here. And now they're meeting in the Super Bowl. Now, I've been telling you guys all week, the key to Super Bowl 56, which you can hear right here this Sunday here on 97.3 ESPN FM, your home for Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Super Bowl 56, March Madness, and more. When you think about this matchup on Sunday, I can't get over the fact of how bad the Bengals offensive line is. When you go back and rewatch the Bengals wins over the Raiders, the Titans, and the Chiefs, you realize that Joe Burrow is a magician. He's Houdini. Like we used to call Carson Wentz Houdini escapes back in 2017. Joe Burrow's like next level. I don't know how he got away from some of those sacks. And he still got smashed numerous times. Joe Burrow didn't just get sacked each week during the postseason run. He got hit again and again and again. And I don't understand how this Bengals team thinks they are just going to slow down Aaron Donald when they were, for lack of a better term, fortunate, lucky, whatever term you want to use, that Chris Jones didn't destroy Joe Burrow multiple times. They were fortunate with the 9 times that Joe Burrow got sacked in the Titans game, and at least half of them were not his fault at all. I mean, for goodness sake, I went back and rewatched the Titans game. Some of those sacks, the offensive lineman went the wrong way. The protection was completely wrong. So I just can't get over the fact that this Rams defense is coming to eat. And I think Donald is extremely motivated. I think that also the Bengals defense is a little better than people realize. I think the Bengals defense showed against the Raiders, second half against the Chiefs in the championship game, and then the 3 interceptions against Tannehill. They're not a bunch of pushovers. This is not, the Bengals defense of back in the day, that people could run up and down the field on and score a ton of points on. I don't think they're a great defense, but I think that this game is going to be interesting and close. I think for the first half, it's going to be tight and low scoring. And I think the Rams inch away in the end. I have the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I do. That was my first instinct the night of the championship games on Sunday. That's my instinct now. And I don't have a reason why I should think otherwise. And I'm really liking that plus 1,500 for Aaron Donald for Super Bowl MVP. I really am. In fact, it's plus 225 at a couple sports books if you say that someone not a quarterback is going to win MVP. I really like those two. I really do. It's going to be a fascinating weekend, though. I mean, Sixers back-to-back tonight. Super Bowl on Sunday, UFC 271. I'll get you the rest of my picks a little bit later in the hour. But coming up next here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, we will talk with an NFL draft prospect who the Eagles may be picking. You know, the Eagles need help at safety, and they got a lot of picks to work with. This guy may be one of those picks coming up in the 2022 NFL draft. He is safety from the University of Maryland, Nick Cross. He joins us next right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Matt Black Kia studios.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey versus Morant into the lane. Tyrese puts it up and in. Tyrese Maxey. Oh, yeah.
The Sixers host the Oklahoma City Thunder. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Kendall Auto Plaza has the area's largest selection of pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, with over 170 pre-owned vehicles on their huge 100-acre lot. Everything from sporty coupes to SUVs to trucks. Kendall offers the area's best buying experience, easy and hassle-free, with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. Discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Shop for your next pre-owned vehicle at Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway, Stone Harbor Boulevard, or online at KendallAutoplaza.com.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook, but that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Is your job leaving you just over broke and out of hope? Maybe this is your year to get into IT. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life in months, not years. Best of all, we've slashed tuition, and financial aid is available to those who qualify. Attend classes day or night, live online from the comfort of your home. Go to My Computer Career and fill out the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Saving at the Home Depot means you can do more for less. Like making your laundry and life easier with a Samsung laundry pair with steam technology that eliminates stains and reduces wrinkles and odors. Enjoy savings on top-rated appliances online, in-store, or on the Home Depot app. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last. Valid February 10th through March 2nd, 2022. Free delivery applies to orders of $396 or more.
The moment we've been waiting for since September is finally here. In honor of the big game, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 or more and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer? Bet on Super Bowl 56 props instead. DraftKings Sportsbook offers a wide range of props throughout the big game. And for our New York listeners, DraftKings Sportsbook is officially live in New York State. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code 973, and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 or more and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's code 973 at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. That code again, 973. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
Hey, remember how 20 years ago I switched to Progressive? Well, now it's the future, and I used all those savings to buy this new hologram phone. Because, you know, it's the future, and everything is holograms now.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is your Wendy's wake-up call. Start your day with a better breakfast and get a free drink with any of our morning-making breakfast sandwiches. That's your favorite drink in a Wendy's cup, free. Fresh brewed coffee, free. Diet Coke, free. Vanilla Frosty Chino, that's cold brew plus Frosty Creamer plus free. So don't sleep on this deal. Get any size drink in a Wendy's cup free when you buy any breakfast sandwich. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only. Participating Wendy's. A la carte only. Offer valid upon request on lowest price qualifying item. Not valid for third-party delivery.
The big game's finally here, and PropSwap has you covered. Find tickets on the game's MVP, players score the first touchdown, who's going to win the game, and much more. Last year, PropSwappers cashed in big when Brady took home the MVP trophy. PropSwap has hundreds of tickets listed at the best odds, and on PropSwap, you can buy and sell sports bets all while sitting on your couch. Download the free PropSwap app today or visit PropSwap.com. PropSwap is where America buys and sells sports bets.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
The 2022 NFL Draft is just a couple months away. As I was telling you guys throughout the week, the Philadelphia Eagles, well, they need help on defense, especially considering that 3/4 of their secondary are all free agents. One of the guys who the Eagles could be targeting is joining us right now on the phone line here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. He is Nick Cross, University of Maryland safety, is declared for the NFL Draft, and he joins us right here on 97.3 ESPN. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And, first I want to ask you, because you've had a very interesting journey to get to this point in your life to go to the NFL Draft. What was the biggest catalyst that made you decide, hey, I'm going to forego my senior year and declare for the draft?
I feel like, I sat down, talked to my parents a little bit, and, I feel like it was the best decision for me, move on to the next chapter of my life, take the next step in development as a player, as a man, just to, go and take my chance. And it's always been a dream of mine to play in the NFL. So, the opportunity was right there. So I just, decided to take it and run with it.
Now, you grew up in Maryland. You went to high school down there. So did you grow up as a Washington fan or a Baltimore fan?
I was always a Washington fan. My best friend's a Baltimore fan. So, obviously, we have a little trash talk there, here and there. But, I've always been a Washington fan since I was born. And, I live and die with the Commanders. So I used to cry when they lose. And, my dad always told me, save your tears, no need to cry. But, I was a really avid fan and, continue to be an avid fan to this day.
All right, so this is good because I want to ask you, because they're the Commanders now. You did a good job on the first shot of getting Commanders. I want to know, how weird has it been for you as a Washington fan to see the team change its name now 3 times in the last few years? Because I know for me as a broadcaster, I got so used to saying football team, I don't know how long it's taken me to actually get Commanders right.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been, for me, it was always, Redskins. It was always, that was the name that they were called back then. And, that's what I grew up on. And, it was kind of different calling the football team. And even now, trying to get from the football team to Commanders. So I always called them, I always called them Washington. I'm a Washington fan, so that's really what I've always called them. But, it's definitely different, definitely a change. But, like everything in life, you got to learn to adapt.
Now, you're a Washington fan. I just mentioned before you came on, there's a possibility that you could be targeted and drafted by the Eagles. How would it feel for you to have to go play against the team you grew up against if you were drafted by the Eagles?
At this point, kind of got to put that to the side. And, I'm grateful for whatever team gives me an opportunity to go play for their organization. Yeah, I've been a Washington fan, but at the end of the day, I'm ready for whatever team decides to call my name on draft night, and I'm ready to give it my all no matter where I go.
Nick Cross joining us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at Nick_Cross26. He is in the NFL 2022 draft. He played at the University of Maryland. Now, I read online, I want to know if this is true. Did you have 35 offers before you picked Maryland?
Yeah, I had around 35 to 40, when I was coming out of high school. Went to the Adidas All-American game, Nike Open, all that stuff. So, definitely had a plethora of schools to choose from, and I felt like Maryland was my best option.
Now, in high school, you were an academic All-American. You now have your degree in finance from Maryland, correct?
No, I haven't completed a degree yet, but in about 2 semesters, if I would have stayed out, I had 2 semesters till graduation. So definitely when the chance comes and the chance presents itself, I'll go back and complete my degree. I promised my parents and made a promise to myself that I'll get my degree. So that's what I'll do.
Good man. The reason I'm asking is because everything I've read and seen about you is you have this high intelligence on the field and off the field. You're a guy who really thinks before you do for a lot of things. That's so important. Talk about where that comes from for you. Is that something from your family? Is that something that just was innate to you?
I've always thought before I've done anything. My parents they're Caribbean. They've always instilled the value of character, integrity, and make sure that you think and always think about what impact your decisions are going to have on you before you make the decision. They always tell me, you can choose what actions you do, but you can't choose the consequences. So make sure that you think before you do anything. So I've always been, pretty cerebral, and whether it's studying the game, watching a lot of tape in life, before I respond to anybody, before I, text anybody, or I always, try to think about what I'm going to say before I say it, because you don't want to blur out the wrong thing or it'd be taken the wrong way because you didn't take a couple more, a couple minutes or a couple seconds to think about what you were saying.
I always say to people, Nick, that I value someone's head more than I value their athleticism. I'm not downgrading anybody's physical ability, but when it comes to the highest levels of whether it's college football or playing in the NFL, everyone's athletic, everyone's talented, right? But the ability to process information, the ability to have the fundamentals like someone you has, I think is going to be a great attribute for you at the next level.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think, the higher up you get in the game, the more mental it becomes. When you get older, your athleticism will fade. So just being able to use your mental to, give you that edge to be able to be in the right spot, put yourself in the right position, so you don't always have to rely on your just pure athleticism to go make plays and help your team.
Now, Nick, you mentioned about your parents. Your one parent's from Trinidad and Tobago, and the other one's from Jamaica, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what does it mean to you to be, the son of immigrants like that? Because, for someone like me, my great-grandparents came here from Italy in 1930, but I'm about 3 generations removed from that. For someone like you, you're first generation, immigrants from this country here.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. My parents instilled the value of hard work, dedication, having good character and good integrity. When they're back home, it wasn't America, so they definitely had a little bit of a struggle to get to where they wanted to get to. But they carried their morals, they carried their values, and instilled with me and my siblings. And you never look back. You always instill the value of integrity, your character, making sure that you are who you say you are when nobody's watching, and just making sure that your actions align with your words, so that no one can ever call you a hypocrite, or no one can ever, question your value or your morals.
You mentioned those values. I know that on Twitter, you tweeted out, if God be for you, who can be against you, when you were announcing you were going to the draft. Tell me in the audience about, how important is your faith in those values and who you are as a person?
It's definitely huge. It's the forefront of everything I do. At the end of the day, God has a plan for everyone, and like I said, if God can be with you, who can be against you? People are going to try to bring you down. People are going to try to put different traps and devices in your way to slow you down. But at the end of the day, what's meant for you is going to be there for you, no matter who or what is trying to stand in your way. So at the end of the day, I focus on what I can control, which is working hard, making sure that I have a good attitude, make sure that treat everyone with respect and let God handle the rest.
2022 NFL draft prospect Nick Cross joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Nick, what is the thing from college to the NFL that you want to improve on the most? What is something that you're saying, I know I can get better at this, and when I get better at this, everyone watch out?
I want to say I get better at everything, everything from eye discipline to, just the fundamentals of the game and, just the playing experience. Someone who's played, since high school and started playing safety as a junior in high school, just the experience in the game and everything. I feel like, once I continue to get more and continue to get better and continue to play against competition and the better competition, which is to come in the NFL, that, the sky's the limit. So I have no worries, just continue to work hard. I'll continue to improve in every area of the game, off the field, when it comes to taking care of your body, watching film, on the field, with the fundamentals, knowing your assignment, eye discipline and everything. I think that it'll be great.
You mentioned about how you started playing safety junior year. Was safety something that you were drawn to, or was it something that the coaches say, hey, we want to put you here?
I've always been drawn to safety. My favorite players have always been safety, whether it's been Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Bob Sanders, Brian Dawkins. They were always my favorite players growing up. So I've always, had a affinity for it. Being so young in the game, they wanted to start me off simple. Started off playing defensive end as a freshman, and then, worked my way back, played a little nickel my sophomore year, and then moved back to safety. Just as a progression, which I, credit my high school coaches to for, unwinding the game, unraveling the game at a simple pace for me, so that I can, get down to fundamentals and everything before starting to put more on my plate.
You mentioned a lot of great safeties there. I mean, just legends. You mentioned Sean Taylor. You mentioned Ed Reed. You mentioned Brian Dawkins. But what safety do you think your game resembles the most?
I think a lot. I play a lot of center of the field, middle of the field. So in that, I look to Ed Reed for his, just his knack for the ball, knack for, interceptions and everything. One of my favorite box safeties is Bob Sanders. Just his knack for finding the ball and run support, being able to track the ball, whether it's, and understand the run fit. So I feel like I'm a mix of a lot of safeties, my size, my speed, my athleticism and physicality. I feel like I have traits of a couple good safeties out there.
Well, I definitely have seen the Bob Sanders numerous times, because I feel like every time I watched a Maryland game the last 2 years, you were blowing somebody up at some point. So I definitely see that comparison. I got to ask you about one of your teammates, because at Maryland, you played with the other Tunga Viola, Talia. What was it like playing with the other Tunga Viola, the guy who everyone talks about Tua in the NFL and at Alabama, but you played with the younger brother?
He was definitely great. He's a great leader. Really enjoyed being around him every day. He really was, he really backed up his words with his actions. He worked hard, first one in the building, last one out. He demanded respect in the locker room. He demanded excellence out of everyone. And, he just was a great person. As good as he was off the field, on the field, he was an even better person off the field. So, I enjoyed talking to him. I enjoyed hanging out with him. He was real humble, real down to earth. So I really enjoyed it.
Favorite part of going to college in College Park was what?
Probably say game days. Game days is always, fun, electric atmosphere. Turf walk to singing the fight song at the end of the game. It was definitely fun from start to finish. I enjoyed every single one.
Now, moving forward, I know you're going to be invited to the draft combine. What is your goal that you want to show all the scouts and the teams at the combine next month?
I just want to show them the complete package. I want to be able to show them that, my athleticism, show off my speed, show off everything. And then, in the interview room, show them, my intelligence and, that I'm someone that they would want in their program.
Before I let you go, Nick, I got to ask you, whatever team you go to, it's going to be an interesting experience, because obviously playing in the pros is a whole new thing for you. I want to know, when you get drafted, what's the first thing you're going to do?
First thing I want to do is put my money in a in their bank and, let it sit there and invest it. Other than that, I'm going to be writing the playbook. As soon as I get drafted, whatever team I go to, I'm going to go to the playbook and ask my coach for the playbook and, start studying.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Nick Cross, University of Maryland safety, is declared for the NFL draft. He could be a target of the Philadelphia Eagles. You can follow him on Twitter at Nick_Cross26. And of course, he joined us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Nick, appreciate you jumping on. Great stuff. We look forward to seeing what's next for you at the next level.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Yeah, I love the analogies he made to the players that he loved to watch there because, when I saw him hit people at Maryland, I did see that Bob Sanders. I do have to disagree with him a little bit on the Ed Reed. I didn't want to argue with him. Obviously, he's got stuff going on in the background there where he was. But, to me, I think his skill set reminds me a lot more of Sean Taylor than Ed Reed because of the fact that he was a guy who could hit. He was a guy who had coverage skills. He was a guy who had a high football IQ, high intellect when it comes to the game of football. So I think that saying that he's closer to Bob Sanders and Sean Taylor is kind of where I would personally go with Nick Cross, his potential at the next level. Again, he's a lot of people consider him one of the top 10 safety prospects in the 2022 NFL draft. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if he is a guy who's on the Eagles' radar. Of course, the NFL Combine is next month where all the players go, they work out, they interview with teams. They really get to find out a better feel for who is or isn't interested in them. And like I said, the Eagles don't have a lot of depth right now in the secondary. So you look at the fact that, Kevon Wallace, he hasn't played much because he's been injured. Marcus Epps, he's an inexpensive option, but he's not a long-term starter at the safety position. And Nick Cross is a guy who's only been playing football for the last several years. When he got to DeMatha Catholic, he played for the first time his freshman year. And you heard him say, look, I've only been playing safety since my junior year of high school. So there's a party that wonders, the Eagles, they've already drafted Davion Taylor. Davion Taylor was a much more of a project than Nick Cross is. Cross is more advanced mentally and physically as a football player than Davion Taylor is. Cross could be a guy the Eagles could pick and say, look, he's not going to be our starter right away, but maybe in a couple of years, this is our starter at safety. He's got to keep an eye on for the 2022 NFL draft. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Still to come about 20 minutes from now, we will announce the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week. Of course, you can check out all the nominees right now at 97.3 ESPN.com. On the other side, we will talk with Dave Weinberg for another edition of Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. I promised you guys I would give you guys some picks, okay, for the weekend. All right. We went 2-1 on the picks last week. We got the 1-for-1 on the UFC picks. We gave you an NBA pick, hit the overall on the Lakers versus Knicks game. We lost Jack Hermanson. I gotta say, Scott Strickland is way better than I expected. That dude has really impressed me. I don't know how he's doing it sometimes because he looks very awkward winning these fights, but he beat Jack Hermanson straight up. Our parlay won Alexis Davis and Hakeem Dawodu won last week. So let's get to the picks this weekend. I told you guys earlier, I like the under 48.5. There's a lot of sharp money that's hitting the under. It's the public money that's hitting the over. Always be wary of not following the crowd. I like the under Super Bowl 56. I told you guys earlier, I also like any position not quarterback to win MVP is plus 225. I really like that. Aaron Donald plus 1,400 to win Super Bowl MVP. If you think the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl, you have to take Joe Burrow Super Bowl MVP odds plus 230. Cooper Kupp is plus 550. OBJ is plus 2,700. A lot of ways. Again, I love Aaron Donald and I love any player, not the quarterback to win. I just think that this is not going to be a quarterback Super Bowl. I think that Sean McVay is a coach who's not going to let Stafford win or lose in the game. I think McVay wants to prove that when he lost to Belichick a few years ago, it was because it was Belichick and it wasn't because of him. So that's why I'm going in that direction. Total Rams sacks. Give me over 3.5 at -105. I just don't think there's a scenario that Joe Burrow doesn't get sacked at least 4 or 5 times in this game. UFC 271. I think that the main event and the co-main event are two of the hardest fights that I've seen pick in a while. I know Adesanya is a strong favorite right now, -235, but Robert Whittaker is the former champ, and I think Adesanya and Whittaker know that they both do things that are the weaknesses of the other defensively. Whittaker is a physical powerhouse, and Adesanya has shown that if you can get your hands on him, he has some problems. Marvin Vettori had trouble consistently getting his hands on Adesanya. Part of the reason why Adesanya beat him. Whittaker is a guy that I think is a better athlete than Vettori. I think he might be able to make this a closer fight. I don't know who's going to win. I'm leading Adesanya. Co-main event, Derek Lewis versus Tai Tavasa. I like Lewis, Tavasa to end in a knockout or TKO. Parlay that with Andrei Arlovsky money line. That's +110. I also like Arlovsky and Phillips both to win. On the undercard, that's +107. Middle of the main card, Cannonier versus Brunson. I love to go to distance. Both of those guys have gone the distance in their fights almost 70% of the time combined. So that's where I'm leaning for the weekend picks for UFC 271 and for Super Bowl 56. Coming up other side, we'll ask Dave Weinberg his thoughts on Super Bowl 56. All that and more, as well as the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week, will be announced in less than 20 minutes from now, right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, former Eagles linebacker Brad Quast and I have a lot to talk about. The Sixers pull off a major trade with the Brooklyn Nets and rid themselves of disgruntled Sixer Ben Simmons. Super Bowl 56 is Sunday in L.A. We'll hear from the sportsbook consigliere Dave Sharapan, who's on Radio Row. Then we'll talk with a South Jersey and Penn State product who won a Super Bowl with Washington, Andre Collins. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.
Always wanted a Jersey Shore mansion? With a $172 million Powerball jackpot win, you could buy the shore home of your dreams, plus one for everyone in your family. It's just that many millions. Anything can happen in Jersey.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. Have you ever cooked a really fine gourmet meal? Yeah, me neither. But I'm told it all comes down to the ingredients. And when I need ingredients to improve my car, the place I go is eBay Motors. Whether you roasted your last transmission, graded your current floor mats, or pureed your side view mirror on a lamppost, eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And by the way, if you recently fired up your grill, don't worry, eBay Motors has grills too. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Saving at the Home Depot means you can do more for less. Like making dishwashing easier with this KitchenAid dishwasher, complete with third-level rack and a Pro Wash cycle that adapts to each load. Enjoy savings on top-rated appliances online, in-store, or on the Home Depot app. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last, valid February 10th through March 2nd, 2022. Free delivery applies to orders of $396 or more.
DQ presents Picture This. A DQ red velvet Cupid cake made for two. This heart-shaped cake is at the center of your perfect date night. There's a layer of red velvet cake blizzard, delicious red velvety cake pieces and cream cheese icing. Wait, what's that? World-famous DQ soft serve. Your Valentine is speechless. It's a DQ Valentine's Day happily ever after. Moments like these are exactly why the DQ Cupid cake exists. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Did you know running your dishwasher every night with Cascade Platinum actually saves water?
Saving water smarter with the dishwasher.
It's true. An Energy Star certified dishwasher with Cascade Platinum uses only 4 gallons of water per cycle, while a running sink uses that every 2 minutes. Every load saves water.
Saving water smarter with the dishwasher.
So do it every night. Run your dishwasher with Cascade Platinum, the surprising way to
Save water.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
New Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut is here. With spicy marinara, sliced red chilies, and a fiery blend of herbs and crushed red pepper, your taste buds will thank you after they've cooled down. New Spicy Lovers Pizza. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Product availability and prices may vary. Exclusions apply.
With GMF financing excludes Corvette.
Now till the end of the month, Bennett Chevrolet is paying a minimum $8,000 for any trade. No joke. That's $8,000 minimum for any rundown old piece of junk you can get to our lot. Don't let that clunker just sit around. Have it towed to Bennett and get at least $8,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. But this is a special offer this month only. Got a good trade? Bring it in. Because if we're paying a minimum $8,000 for junk, imagine how much more Bennett will pay for a good quality trade. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy ours. Plus, you won't find Bennett selling new cars over factory window sticker like other dealers. And if you're stuck in a lease, we can get you out early. Every make and model. No obligation, no pressure. Because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Now till the end of the month, Bennett Chevrolet is paying a minimum $8,000 for any trade. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's been a busy week. I will not be on the air tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN. Been preempted for the Flyers, who go on at noon. So my final guest of the week, it seems only appropriate that it is Dave Weinberg. We usually have him for Weinberg Wednesdays, but he joins us today on a Friday, the Friday before this football right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Doing well, Josh. How are you?
Now, where are you? I do not recognize your surroundings.
I am actually at the Borgata getting ready to make some Super Bowl bets.
Okay, well, let's start there because I gave away some of my bets and ideas earlier. I got to tell you, the bet I like the most is any position not quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP. How do you feel about that?
Funny you should say that. That's a pretty good choice. I actually am getting ready to put some money down on Evan McPherson.
Okay.
He's like 100-1. I know kickers probably never won it, but I'm like, he's been like so hot in the playoffs. I figured, why not? I'll take a flyer on him and see if I can win some money. I think I put 50. I'm going to put $50 on him, and it pays like $3,500, maybe something like that. So
does that mean you think the Bengals are going to win this game?
Absolutely, yes.
I need more than that. You got to give me why, man. I
took the Bengals in +4, and
okay,
and the under, which I'm kind of rethinking that. But I just think the Bengals. I know people think there's no such thing as destiny, but every time they've been faced with a challenge in the playoffs, every time they've been counted out, everybody talks about the offensive line. Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times in the game. They still won the game, and I just think I think this is their time. They've waited so long for this. I think they're going to come away with the Super Bowl championship.
Interesting. Now, I do agree with you. I do like the under because everywhere the sharp money, the wise guys, they're all on the under. The public's on the over. And I tend to believe you run away from the crowd. You know what I mean? You don't follow the lemmings off the cliff, as the old saying goes. So I'm with you on the under. But Dave, I think the Rams are going to win this game. I think that Aaron Donald is going to destroy the Bengals O-line. Because I was rewatching some of the Bengals playoff run games. Their offensive linemen don't know how to do the job. Like I saw plays where the guards just missed assignments altogether. It's really bad. Like I don't know how they're going to stop Aaron Donald.
And what happened in the game?
Well, for example, the Titans game, they had 9 sacks, and I counted 5 of those sacks was because the offensive linemen were just dumb. You know what I mean?
But who won?
Well, the Bengals won, but Ryan Tannehill also threw 3 interceptions. So you're
right, and you got Matthew Stafford. I think he might be due for like 2.
okay. That's interesting. I know Stafford, if I remember correctly, is see here. He is set at the over under on interceptions is 1.5.
Oh wow, okay.
So I mean, if you
I mean,
believe,
I'm a big Stafford fan, but I
right?
don't know. I just think he might. They've been turning the ball over. It seems like more than their share recently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he threw a pick or 2.
It's interesting because I said yesterday, Dave, I want to ask you about this. Okay. I think that McVay's path to victory for this game for the Rams is saying, look, I'm not letting anyone mess this up. I lost the first time to Belichick, and that's okay. You lose to Belichick. It's not a bad thing. The only guys who've beaten him are Doug Peterson and Tom Coughlin, for goodness sake,
True.
So, losing to Belichick is not like a problem. You know what I mean? But losing to your protege, Zach Taylor, might be a bad look. I think McVay tells his team, look, this is the game plan. The game plan is no one's going to lose this game for us. We're going to let our defense win it. We're just going to control the clock and let our receivers and our skill positions win this game for us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a pretty good plan. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to screw it up, but you do have to make some plays, and you might have to take some chances. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball the whole game, and that's not how they're built anyway. When you got Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. in your lineup with Stafford, you are going to throw the ball, and when you do that, I think there's a chance for some mistakes there. I mean, but you're right. I can see them wanting to ride their defense, but you do have to put some points on the board, and to do that, I think they're gonna have to make some challenge, have to challenge themselves, have to take some risks, and I think that might not work in their favor. Although, I mean, I could certainly see the Rams winning. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, they are favored. They are at home pretty much. So, but I don't know. I just have a feeling this is the Bengals' time.
Dave Weinberg joining us here on a Friday on 97.3 ESPN at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Now, Dave, no matter who wins this game, we know one thing's for sure. You have a really young guy walking out of there with a trophy, whoever the coach is.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, because to me, I've looked at this past few weeks of these coaching hires. We've talked about Doug Peterson. Some of these coaching hires have been really weird, man. And I feel like everyone is obsessed with finding the new fancy car on the lot and not going with old reliable with some of these coaches. Is it possible that whoever wins this game is going to contribute to this environment that, hey, you want to find the fresh, young guy and maybe not always hire the guy who's more experienced or has the resume?
Yeah, that does seem to be the trend, Josh, especially in recent years. And Nick Sirianni is a perfect example. Teams just wanted to have that. They want that sexy pick, so to speak. They want to find the guy who flies under the radar, who's young, innovative. Nobody's really thinking of them in terms of a head coaching job. And I mean, Doug Peterson was that way, although he wasn't as young as some of these other guys when the Eagles first hired him in 2016. But I don't know. I'm of the opinion, though, if there's a guy there that you think is the right guy and he's experienced, and Doug won a Super Bowl, so that to me that puts him at the front of the line, no matter how innovative somebody else might be, how creative, how young. I think you make a mistake by trying to unearth that kind of talent sometimes.
Now, you mentioned Doug. I want to ask you about this because I find it very interesting that the guy who Doug hired as his defensive coordinator wasn't one of these big names. Schwartz is out there, Fangio's out there, Mike Zimmer's out. He hired Mike Caldwell, a guy who's like an up-and-coming guy, a guy who basically Todd Bowles is basically considering him like the next big thing. What are your thoughts on Doug hiring an up-and-coming DC and not like a veteran guy?
Well, he wasn't going to hire Schwartz. People might not remember, but Jim was hired before Doug with the Eagles, so he really wasn't Doug's pick in Philadelphia. And I don't want to say they butted heads, but I think they had different philosophy sometimes as far as like coaching goes. I mean, there was a rumor at one point where Jim was going to be taken over if Doug kind of stumbled in the early in the 2017 season, which of course it didn't happen. But I applaud Doug for doing that. I mean, I think he probably, like every coaching candidate has their list of guys that they want. If assuming they're going to get a head job, they have a short list of guys that are, for coordinators, position coaches. And I'm glad to see Doug pick Mike Caldwell. I think he's got a pretty bright future.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Caldwell. Listen, nothing against Jonathan Gannon, but I like Caldwell's pedigree better than Gannon's pedigree getting the job. And again, nothing against Gannon. I don't hate the guy. If I met Gannon in person, it'd be the first time ever. You know what I mean? Right. I don't know him personally, but I just think Doug made a very interesting hire, and I felt like Sirianni just hired basically who Jeffrey Lurie told him to.
Yeah, and that's what Doug was forced to do. That's why he's not there anymore. I'm really glad to see that Doug is given the freedom to pick his own guys, really, for the first time. I mean, everybody knows how much second guessing went on in Philadelphia, how much scrutiny he was under. The Tuesday meetings with the owner and the GM every week, even after winning the Super Bowl. It seems like so far, at least, Jacksonville's willing to give him a little bit of leeway to do things as he sees fit. Now, I happened to talk to a person who's very close to Doug before he took the job, or after he took the job, and asked him about that. And he said that Doug would not have taken it unless the chain of command was very clear and concise. And so that tells me that they knew that Doug knew that he would be given the freedom to make his own decisions, which he should.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I'm with you. I think you and I both agree. We want Doug to be successful in Jacksonville.
Oh, I sure do. Yeah.
There's a part of both you and me that's like Doug got done wrong here in Philadelphia, and we want to see him be successful. Speaking of Philadelphia, before I let you go, I'm very happy, Dave, that yesterday Dick Vermeil and Sam Mills both are finally going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dick Vermeil is part of football history. He's one of only a couple coaches who took not one but two franchises to a Super Bowl. And Sam Mills, from the USFL to the NFL, had an incredible career, and he played for the USFL Philadelphia team. So What are your thoughts on Sam and Coach Vermeil getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Yeah, both fantastic choices. I mean, Coach Vermeil's selection was long overdue. Like you said, his resume is almost unparalleled, and I was so happy to see him finally get rewarded for his decades of service, really. And Sam too. I mean, not all the people remember the USFL unless they're over 40 or 50 out. But Sam was a star with the Stars, so to speak. No pun intended. And I mean, he was a great NFL player, but he was great even before he got the NFL. So yeah, I'm glad to see that I don't know how much weight the Hall of Fame committee put into the USFL's Sam's career with the Stars, but it definitely is it's a Pro Football Hall of Fame, not just the NFL Hall of Fame. So I was glad to see him get rewarded for that.
Yeah, and Sam Mills is one of only a couple of players who can say they were all USFL first team and they were all NFL first team. Yep. So, having that on your resume, I think, is a big deal as well. Well, Dave, I appreciate you jumping on. I'm glad we were able to kind of finagle to get you on. Go make your Super Bowl bets. Enjoy the Borgata, and we'll catch up with you normal time on Wednesday.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you making the concessions for me. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Dave Weinberg at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter, and his Extra Point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. All right, the winner of the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week. Of course, you can vote each week over at 97.3 ESPN.com and the 97.3 ESPN mobile. A ton of great nominees this week, but there was one student athlete who, frankly, the voting, they ran away with it with 47.2% of the vote. The winner of the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week this week is Ocean City High School junior Avery Jackson. Scored a career high 31 points with highly ranked Manchester Township last week. She had 5 3-pointers in the game. Earlier this season, she scored 23 points against Cedar Creek. She leads the Lady Raiders in scoring, rebounds, and assists this season. So congratulations to Avery Jackson for the win. Let's get a text message in here before we get out of here. Of course, you can message the show, always DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And of course, you can text in at 609-403-0973. Matt and Cape May Courthouses. Josh, I enjoyed the interview. Interesting hearing from an NFL draft prospect. I like the fact he said the first thing he's going to do is jump in the playbook. Commanders fan, though, really LOL. That's Matt and Cape May Courthouse. Listen, Matt, there's a long history of guys being drafted by the team they didn't root for. And listen, I don't mind that he's a Washington fan. I just wanted to make sure that he knew why he was a Washington fan. You know what I mean? Washington hasn't won a Super Bowl since the 90s. The Eagles won one a few years ago. He could be drafted by an NFC East team. I can see even the Giants drafting him as well. He may be playing for an NFC East team next year and has to go and hit that team that he was a fan of growing up. I'm just saying. Sixers basketball next versus the OKC Thunder. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll catch you Monday.
Sunday, the Los Angeles Rams and Cincinnati Bengals square off in Super Bowl 56. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew from LA for all the action. The Bengals are in the big game for the first time in 33 years. Can they bring home the first Super Bowl title in franchise history? Or will the Rams win on their home turf in SoFi Stadium? Tune in to find out. If it's Super Bowl 56, it's right here.
Exclusively on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Super Bowl station.